Morning, morning. We're lucky enough to have a public holiday here in Canberra, so I thought I would come on and share some of my thoughts. We've had International Women's Day recently, and I was at a breakfast, and it was really lovely to get together. There was a few men there. It was really nice, and as they were talking, I'm just so bothered by the statistics of where we are as women, and especially um, the amount of homeless women that are older than me is just heartbreaking because it just shouldn't be like that. Especially when you get to the age where life is supposed to be about living and enjoying your freedom and enjoying retirement or whatever it might be. And I know for me, a couple of years ago, I did have the reality check of how old am I now? How many years till retirement? Um, Being over 50, I'm 55 now. So being over 50, you have less life ahead of you than behind you. Now, if you sit with that for a minute and contemplate that for a minute, that's pretty confronting. But when I hear the statistics of women still being in such hard situations, like financially, security wise, having a roof over their head, feeling like they can be excited about the future, there is far too many women who are struggling and who are going to continue to struggle. And I understand, I mean, I'm in a very privileged position. I've built my skills up over the years. I have a very clear plan for my future. I have a great job where I get to contribute, but I also have a side hustle that will sustain me. Now, this side hustle will become my main driver. And I'm working towards that, and I have the skills to do that. And I really hope that when this message comes out, that there's some women who hear this who understand that they have more options than when I became a single parent many, many years ago. There wasn't online businesses that you could develop. There wasn't as many opportunities. And when you're raising a family, whether you're doing it on your own or you're doing it together, um, you know, I find it incredibly frustrating that we are still in a position where uh, women are earning less. The gender pay gap is actually, they're trying to close the gap, but it's not closed yet, right? Bottom line is it's not closed yet. And we also have women who have stayed at home through choice with their children, which is a wonderful thing to do. The ability to stay at home and pick up the kids and look after them in the afternoon. When I say look after them, they're your children, but you know what I mean? Like you get the choice to be at home with them, which is wonderful. However, in your future, if something goes wrong, you don't have that safety net. You don't have that nest egg. You don't have that superannuation. So the logic of we have lower income, we have less super, and yet it's showing that we live longer, right? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So, my message to women is you can take control of your financial future. There are various ways. How I'm doing it may not be for everybody. Me doing a online business in personal development was something that aligns with me. So that's what I went into, and it works for me. I I do it in the hours that I can. I am doing it very part-time, but I'm doing it and progressing in it and very happy with where I am at the moment. And I have a job, where I have developed these skills and will continue to develop skills because that's part of who I am. But I want to tell you a story about a lady. When I ran my training organization, I had a lady come to me to learn some new skills. Now, sadly, what had happened is exactly what I was talking about. She stayed home with the children and her husband went to work and she raised the children and she was able to do all of their activities with them after school and on weekends. And as a family, they did things. Skip forward a few years, kids are grown, kids are adults now, and they're living their life, but they had a few financial hiccups. And then he left the marriage. Now, here she is, and I think at the time she came to us, she was maybe 58 or 59, and was terrified because she didn't have any skills. And she was able to do a course with us and develop some skills, but also she developed some confidence because that really took a hit, like on her self-esteem, on her ability to figure it out because she didn't know how she was going to do that financially. And she was with us for about 18 months, learning, developing skills, getting some work experience, all of those kinds of things. But the bottom line is, he could go, he had his super, right? He had his skill set that he had crafted over all of these years. So he then went on in his new life, rightfully so. He's happy now. He's living in he's in a new relationship. He's earning his six-figure income, multiple six-figure income. But she was left with just a hole of who am I? What am I going to do? And that comes back to our identity as well. When we lose our identity, we actually can lose our path. So, really, it's about finding your identity again and then starting on that pathway to developing a life that you really want. And that's not an easy task. Don't let me confuse you here. It's not an easy task. It's actually quite challenging to rediscover yourself. And whether you're a man or a woman, rediscovering yourself, it really is a journey, a process of who I was. And it's interesting, there was a time where I was doing some work, personal work, and there was something said of something has to die in you. The old beliefs have to die for new beliefs to come to light. And I know that part of my journey was understanding what was is gone, and now what is going to be is what I develop, is what I create, is the future that I want. And there are times where you feel hopeless and helpless, and there are times where you feel like you're never going to get unstuck or you're never going to come out of it. But let me assure you, you do come out the other side, and you can come out this other side much stronger, much clearer. And yes, you might have to start again. But as they say, it is a cliche saying if the pages of the next chapter are not written. And that is so very true. But I have to implore you as a woman to really start to look after your future. I could not imagine my life if in 5 years' time, when I turn 60, it's actually less than 5 years' time, when I turn 60, facing homelessness, facing helplessness of not knowing what my future holds. I just don't want to be in that position. And I know that it may seem like that's the direction you could be heading. If I'm talking to you and you feel like that, reach out to me. Let me show you some of the ways that you can readjust your future, that you can start writing a different chapter for yourself. And, it could be that you get into a different industry that you haven't been in before, and you might need to get some skills to do that. But reach out and let's have a conversation and let's work on a new future because it is possible. Trust me, I'm testament to that. It is possible.